Welcome into the Hill Section podcast. It's not a very happy occasion, and bear with me. I'm a little allergies killing me today, so my voice isn't the best. I look like hot garbage, but we wanted to come on tonight to celebrate Hulk Hogan's career. Whatever you think of him, he obviously changed professional wrestling forever. So just want to come on and talk about the Hulkster for a little bit. I know you've had many memories with him. You've had personal memories with him, which not something I've had. Yeah. Just want to talk about Hulk. We lost him today. Sad day for the wrestling world.
Absolutely. Very sad day indeed. We lost Ozzy and Hulk in the same week, man. It's like the 80s are drying up, bro.
And Theo Huxtable.
Theo too, yeah. Theo. Somebody else died today too. I saw something else.
Chuck Mangione, a jazz artist. Yeah. Not everybody got all into that one like they did Hulk and Ozzy, but Chuck was important too, so let's not sell that short. But that's not why we're here.
We're here to talk about the life and career of Hulk Hogan, right? Only in-ring stuff, only positivity, only good stuff. That's all we're talking about. All the other negative stuff, y'all can discuss that at your own time.
That's right. You can talk about that separately. This is a wrestling podcast, so we're going to talk about the wrestling stuff. You and I were talking off camera before, like earliest memories of him. I know the first time I saw him live was WWE had a house show at the Nashville Fairgrounds during the Tennessee State Fair. When it was probably 86. And he defended the title against Ted DiBiase. That's the first time that I ever saw him. It was a big deal. Like, I mean, it was like, man, we got a show with Hulk Hogan on it. Like, that's crazy.
At the fairgrounds, no less.
It was a cool show because it was outdoors too. It wasn't like at the fairgrounds. It was outdoors by the Speedway. But yeah, that's the first time I ever saw him live. Pretty cool show actually that day. I'll send you the card sometime. Yeah, that's the first time I saw him live. What about you?
So mine was several years after that. I didn't go to my first WWF show till 1992. I believe it was March 92. We were on the road to WrestleMania 8. And the announced card at that point, it was when Hogan and Flair were main eventing before Jack Tunney came in and changed the top of the card around or whatever.
Jack Tunney.
So we had Hogan, Flair was champ, defending the title against Hogan. And, it was a good card. It was Hogan and Flair was my first one. And it ended up, they announced it initially as it was like a title match, I thought, but Hulk hit the boot, dropped the leg. Somehow it was a non-title match after he got the win. I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah.
But we thought it was a title match, but it wasn't a title match. It was a good show. We had Roddy Piper versus Rick Martel. That was the main event because they put Hulk and Flair in the middle of the card.
The model Rick Martel?
Yeah, the model Rick Martel and Roddy Piper. That was the main.
Yeah.
Pretty decent show.
Nice.
That was at Municipal Auditorium.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I ever saw him at Municipal back then because a lot of the house shows I went to back then were headlined by like Macho Man.
You didn't do the no holds barred thing?
I did. That was wrestling.
That was still at Municipal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did forget about that because it was a WWE Superstars or a wrestling challenge, and it was about to. Excuse me. It was going to be pay-per-view only. That the no holds barred match. So of course, when you're going there that day, they kind of advertised that they were going to have a match similar to what it was supposed to be, but you go to see that show, you're not thinking, I'm going to see the pay-per-view match. But yeah, sure enough.
I remember that. I wanted to go. It just wasn't in the cards. I think I was grounded.
I was about to say, I think you probably didn't get to go because it was snowing like crazy by the time we got out. So
yeah, probably on top of it.
Yeah, because I remember we got out of there and went outside and we were like, what in the heck? We're not going to have school tomorrow. But yeah. Yeah, I did forget about that one in Municipal because that was pretty cool. And God, was he at the Saturday night's main event that I went to Municipal? I don't think he was.
That was Macho and DiBiase, wasn't it? I think it was Macho and DiBiase, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think he was there for that one.
Yeah. I didn't go to that either. I had to watch that on TV.
Yeah. I was front row center on that one. That was but back when you could do that without paying $1,000 for a ticket. I think it was $30. So anyway.
What's your first TV memory of watching Hulk on TV?
That I actually watched on TV because I didn't see WrestleMania 1 live when it came on. But I didn't see this one live either. But I think the first thing was WrestleMania 2 showed on HBO or Showtime or one of those. And I remember watching that on there. But I had rented WrestleMania 1. That's probably the first time that I really paid attention to Hogan. So I can't remember if that was exactly the first time I ever saw him on TV. I didn't see him in AWA. So I've heard people talking on the radio today saying they used to watch him. Yeah, I didn't have AWA until after wrestling exploded, and ESPN had it for us to watch. But yeah, I'd say probably WrestleMania 2. But
It's good. See, I didn't see WrestleMania 1.
you what?
The first thing I remember was the Rock and Wrestling deal with Captain Lou and Cyndi Lauper and all that.
Yeah.
That's my first Hulk memories of watching TVs, the Hogan Piper stuff. I didn't see WrestleMania 1 or 2. I don't think the first one I actually saw live was 4 and 5.
Okay.
So we rented 3 from one of the video stores or something, and 1 and 2, I saw that stuff later.
That's all.
I was 10 years old in 1989. So when the Mega Powers blew up, I was with my grandparents watching that for sure, because that was the biggest thing that happened in life. When I was 10 years old, fifth grade, whatever that was, sixth grade, I think I was in fifth grade. I don't know, it all runs together. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that happened in 1989 was the Mega Powers. That whole run against the Twin Towers and Macho and Hulk and all that stuff. They already had their hooks in me at that point. I was a super duper fan at that point.
Yeah, I was really into it. And then again, bear with me. WrestleMania 3, I didn't watch live. I watched it the following day. My dad had a de-scrambler box. Sorry, Dad. They won't come after you at this point. And I remember calling him all day, and I was like, hey, I need you to record this thing coming on tonight. And he was like, yeah, I'll get it for you. And my stepmom at the time worked on the side of town that I lived on. So I rode my bike over to her office and picked up the tape and came back to my house. And yeah, I was definitely hooked after WrestleMania 3 because that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
I was thinking it was WrestleMania 4. It was actually probably the big event or whatever it was, or the main event when they did Hulk and Andre on TV, when Andre beat Hulk for the belt. That's probably the first thing I really remember, when they had the dual referees and, how much money did they spend on the plastic surgery and all that stuff with the Hebners. It's ridiculous.
Things ever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably as far back as I actually remember. If I saw it before that,
kind of what I was talking about with some other friends today. Like, I was never a Hogan guy growing up. I mean, I was always a Flair guy and a Savage guy, but, you can't take away from, all the memories he created. All the stuff we're talking about. I wasn't tuning in because I want to see Hogan win, but all these memories are still special. Yeah. It was a big part of my childhood.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good memories. I was a little Hulkamaniac all day long.
Yeah.
I wrote him a card in 1990 when Earthquake squashed him, and he went off to film movies or whatever. So I was definitely a little Hulkamaniac, but I always have to, set the record straight that WrestleMania 5, I was on Team Madness going into that, because anybody with eyes could see Hogan had lust in his eyes for Miss Elizabeth. Macho Man was in the right on that whole thing. Was out of line, that's kind of where it got difficult as a little Hulkamaniac to watch it and be like, but he touched her butt at SummerSlam, he's doing this, he's doing
Little
that.
Hill Doug was always on side Team Savage over there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, from that point, I liked them both. And the WrestleMania 5s, Savage should have won that. He just should have.
I
They should
agree.
have kept on with what they were doing.
Yeah.
But either way.
Back to stuff like that. Savage should have won that. Hogan should have never gotten to beat Yokozuna for the belt for no reason at the end. Yeah. There's a lot of those Hogan moments where you're like, what are we doing? But the man-made moments.
Yeah.
Good or bad, whether you like them or not.
Probably, $1 Million Man, probably, if they were really booking straight, DiBiase probably should have beat Hogan at WrestleMania 4 and been the dominant heel champ, and Savage could have come in and took the belt off DiBiase down the line. There's a whole bunch of different ways they could have done that would have played out better than what they did. But, you got to protect the cash cow.
That's right. And then, we can fast forward all those years later when he did the greatest heel turn in the history of professional wrestling.
Were you watching that live?
I was, and I was not expecting it. But when I saw him coming out of the ring, I started looking at my friends and going, they wouldn't do this, would they? Like, there's no way. And then he dropped the leg, and I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. They started trashing the ring and all that stuff. It's amazing.
I was watching it with my cousin Wes over at his house. We got a bunch of WCW pay per views over there,
Yeah.
'96, and yeah, it was the craziest thing. Didn't think it was going to happen. I still burned in my memory when he backs up to the ropes to drop the leg on Macho Man, joining NWO,
Yeah, the
forming
dead
the NWO.
silence fell through the room where I was at. Like when he dropped that leg, everybody's just kind of going,
Yeah.
like, is that
Remember
happening?
all the trash? They were just pelting the ring with all that trash.
Amazing.
It's the greatest heel turn of all time. No. I mean, there's been other good heel turns, but that one is the bar. The Hogan heel turn is just it's
Yeah, it's not
way
even
up.
close.
Yeah. Like nobody's got to touch that. Everybody thought the Cena heel turn would be something, and that's like been like
Yeah, I mean, it was neat when it happened.
yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't that. Not to mention, I mean, Hogan's heel turn turned into the NWO, which blew up wrestling for a while. So, I mean, that's when the 83 weeks started, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. You got your best 3 years, out of well, I'll say the best. Some people argue out of WCW. They're definitely their most lucrative years. 96, 97, 98, from like June '96 all the way or May whenever Scott Hall came in '96 all the way through most of '98. WCW was just killing it. Even when they were going back and forth. Like I watched them both. I had the VCR stacked up, and I've got totes and totes of VHS in the garage still where I was taping all this stuff.
Same.
So I was go back and forth. There wasn't a Monday that I didn't watch Raw and Nitro, both of them. And I'd watch the first hour of Nitro, then I watch Raw, then I watch the Nitro replay.
Yeah.
That's generally how it went.
Timer set up to tape both shows and
Mm-hmm.
record them both every week. And I stayed up after I'd get home from work sometimes and stay up till 2 in the morning watching both shows. So we were dedicated back then. Of course, we
Oh, for
also
sure.
W back then that came on at like 1 a.m. I don't know
And
if
when
that,
you're younger, that's all you have in life. Sometimes there's nothing else really going on. When you were a kid, or it's like wrestling was the biggest thing happening in my life.
yeah. Oh,
Off and
I
on.
know. I mean, I remember we'd go to Mississippi to visit grandparents and stuff. And I'd go find a room to hide in and go over there and watch wrestling superstars.
Yep.
Yeah.
My grandparents had one of those big giant satellite dishes, like the old school '80s ones. That you could pick up like channels from Mars or whatever. So we went there for pay per view. Anytime there was something that I wanted to watch, that's where we went because it all came in for free on those big satellites. They never ordered them; they could just
Yeah.
watch
That's
it.
what, like I say, that's what my dad had done. He had a descrambler box, but the apartment complex he was in had one of the big satellite dishes. And I'd figured out, in case anybody hadn't figured out, I'm kind of old now. I had figured out how to tune the channels on the VCR itself into actual channels with those little dials. So we would get all these channels for free because they just didn't block anything. But
That's cool.
not the case anymore. They figured us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to Judgment Day when it was here? The infamous Hogan Undertaker match, Judgment Day '02,
No.
Bridgestone? No,
I did the In Your Houses at Municipal. But again, I don't think Hope was on any of those.
he wasn't. He was already gone by the
Yeah.
time that rolled around. That was like Jarrett and HBK or something on that one.
Yeah, I was at that one.
Yeah, we did Judgment Day when Undertaker beat Hogan. Hogan came back, did the Rock match or whatever, which is probably the biggest match. I won't say the biggest. Hogan Andre is the biggest match in his career. Hogan Rock is number two.
Yeah, I'd say.
Hogan Rock is the better match of the two, clearly. From a in ring standpoint, I guess. I'm sure they probably made more money at WrestleMania 3 overall. But who knows with inflation and how things worked. But yeah, he came back. He won the belt from Triple H, Backlash or whatever it was, and dropped it like the next month or 2 months later to Undertaker in a really bad match. That I'm happy I saw Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan, but
Yeah.
man, it
I
was
was
not
really
good.
angry. I remember being really angry with this Tuesday in Texas. Just pissed me off. But
Yeah, but the Macho Man Jake match made that though. So I wasn't watching Tuesday in Texas to see Hogan Undertaker. It was all about Jake the Snake and Macho Man.
it's true. Very true. What else? What else can we say, man? I mean, you and I both. I mean, you named your dog Thunderlips. You and I both love Thunderlips.
Oh,
Thunderlips
Rocky
are
movies all
nothing.
day.
I still quote Thunderlips all the time.
Meatball,
Yeah,
Ultimate Meatball.
that's right. It's gonna break him in half like this.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, and visiting his shop in Clearwater, And that was one of the things I marked out for the most was some of the Thunderlips paraphernalia he had in the shop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have your story about his shop in Clearwater. It's a
Yeah.
good story if you want to tell that real quick.
Sure. So I took my family down there in 2017, and we knew he had a beach shop. We have family down in Tampa, so we were coming down there to visit. We've been down there a few times, and we just never, for whatever reason, figured out where his shop was.
It's got a
So
giant
we,
over there
yeah,
from.
we're down there. It's like maybe our third time that we were down there. We figured out where it was because we've been in the area. We just didn't see it. I don't know. You got smartphones and stuff. We could have Googled it. But either way it goes, we go there
Hey,
and it's closed.
real quick, I was gonna say I didn't even know we had the shop there the first time we went to Clearwater, and we were staying right there on the little strip. So we had just gone walking the first day we were there. We're walking by, and my oldest son goes, "Dad, what is that?" And I turn around, there's that big Hogan statue out there. I was like, "I don't know. Let's go find out." That's how we found out about it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, so we walk up to the shop. It's closed and it should be open. The hours say it should be open, but the store's closed. There's a dog whining over here or something, which
even
of
the
course
dog
that's
had about the
yeah,
whole.
that's gonna happen. Yeah. So anyway, we walk in and I'm trying to look in the window, see what I can see in there. So like, oh man, we came all the way out here to try to see the shop, and there was somebody moving around in there, and it was some worker, and they go to the door and they open the door, and they're like, yeah, we're sorry, we're closed today. So I asked them, I said, hey, yeah, we drove down from Nashville. We're here for a few days. I think we had like maybe 2 or 3 more days left on the trip. I said, when would be a good time to come back? Because we really want to check this out. Huge wrestling fans. And we hear this big booming voice from the back. And he's like, let him in, brother. And it's Hulk. And he's back there in the back of the store. And I guess he was having a meeting with one of the staff members, the guy that was running the shop or whatever. So I'm like, oh, man, there's Hulk Hogan back there. And he's like
Right.
walking in the door. He opens the door, lets us in. I've got my wife, both my kids. We go in there, and the store's closed, so it's just us and Hulk. And we got to hang out in there for like 20 minutes. He told us stories. We talked about stuff, just
Oh, I remember you
all
call.
kinds of crazy stuff.
I remember you
He gave
calling me and
me
telling me about it. I was like, man,
gave me an NWO shirt, so we were buying all this other merch, and they
I
didn't
saw
have.
some of the pictures today
Yeah,
from
I
that.
did. I shared some of the stuff today. He cut the Hulk promo. As soon as we came in the door, he talked about how he could feel the walls shaking and the floor rumbling, and the power of Hulkamania was near. He cut a full on promo just on our family.
It's amazing.
It was from a kid that was a Hulkamaniac. Obviously he went so out of his way that day to accommodate us, to be super, super cool. He presented me, when he gave me an NWO shirt, he presented it to me like he was bringing me in the NWO. It could
Right.
not have possibly been cooler than it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just awesome. That's all you can say about it. I've still got the NWO shirt. I got a red yellow shirt. They cut it up right there in the shop for us. I got the headband, all that stuff. We bought a bunch of merch, and we just talked to him. We talked about Macho Man. He talked about the Bullet Club and New Japan. He was watching a lot of New Japan at that point because he
That's
was
awesome.
not he was not with WWE at that point. That was, I think,
Yeah.
before he was in or out at that point. They had running back, so he was talking about maybe coming back in New Japan. They're doing a quick run there with Bullet Club, and I was like, that would be that'd be fun to watch. They had Jeff Jarrett in Bullet Club. Why not Hulk Hogan at that? So it was just a really super cool experience, and we went back to a shop a few more times after that. And side note on that, we found out after that, by the time we were leaving, maybe it was like the next day we came back before we left to buy something else I saw. Anyway, they told us that Hulk was actually there because they were going to close the Clearwater shop. Like he was there to close it. And then throughout the course of that day, seeing people still coming in or whatever. So I think he was pretty down on all that stuff that had been going on. He was not in a good mindset, is what they told us. And the interactions and everything that just how that day went, they thanked us for coming in. And they're like, thank you, because you really brightened his spirits, brightened his day, seeing people still care and all this stuff. And they decided to keep the Clearwater shop open.
The
So,
power of
I mean,
Hulkamania.
power of Hulkamania. So it was pretty cool, and the kids got to see it. The only thing that sucks is my mom was with us on the trip, but she stayed back at the condo, so she didn't come down
Yeah.
to meet Hulk, because that would have been cool too. If my mom had been in the picture with all of us, it just would have been all time favorite picture of all time.
Yeah. It's an
And
awesome
that's
story,
the
man.
meat shop story.
Yeah, like I said, I've been to the shop, but I didn't have the experience you had. That's a pretty awesome story. Amazing shop. If you ever get a chance to go, anybody that decides to watch this,
So they've got tons of wrestling figures, belts, signed
everything
stuff, signed
you could
weight
possibly
belts,
think of is on the wall in that store.
sunglasses. Every era of Hulk Hogan is represented. They've got old matches just playing. He's got, see, what sucks is I never went to the hangout. He's got the bar too.
I
I
never
was
did.
going to try to go, and we just never made it down there. Every time we go,
What's
it's like
crazy
something
is
happens.
Jimmy Hart he tweeted like 2 days ago that he was just with Hogan because I guess there was rumors out there about his health. Because the first thing I saw about it was Jimmy's tweet. He said, "I was just with the Hulkster. He's doing great. Karaoke was fun last night. Like he was at the hangout like 2 nights ago." Yeah, never know, man.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's my Hulk story.
Yeah, I don't really have a Hulk story. Like I said, I just have memories of all the memories everybody else has with Hulk Hogan. So he's a legend, man. He's gonna be missed. I don't know. Didn't he just start a wrestling promotion with Bischoff?
Oh yeah, that Real American Freestyle or
Yeah, I
something.
wonder what's
I
gonna
thought
happen.
about that earlier, about what's going to happen with that and his Real American beer. They have to get like Kurt
Yeah,
Angle or
I've had a lot
somebody
of
to come
people
on and
ask me
sell the
about it
beer.
because people that don't know, I sell beer for a living, and we can't get it around here yet. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of stuff up in the air, but yeah, just it's one of those all of a sudden things. You and I talk about hug your loved ones. You always got to. You never know. And yeah, like I said, I don't want to drag this on all night or anything. Not to mention, I feel like hot garbage right now. So that's all I got. I just wanted to say, thanks, Hulkster, for all the memories. Sure you feel the same way.
Before we tune out on it, pick a favorite Hogan match. What's your all time favorite Hogan match?
I mean, it's probably the Savage Mega Powers Explode match. That's one of my favorites for sure.
That's me
I mean,
too.
Hogan Andre was a moment, but it wasn't. That match was fun with him and Savage. I don't know. I always liked the Saturday night's main event matches too, when they weren't that great. I mean, like him and Sika, that was fun. I mean, like
Being there with like Hercules,
yeah. I mean,
that was a good one. Terry Funk.
yeah, he had good matches with Orndorff back in the day. He always had fun matches with Bundy. But yeah, I think the Savage match is definitely my favorite one.
Anytime you had Hulk and Savage together, like I was tuning in.
Yeah.
You had me in
A
Hulk
lot of
Savage.
people are going to say the Warrior match, but not for me.
I didn't like that at all. I was never Ultimate Warrior kid at all.
Yeah, I didn't really get into him either. I note about that. There was a house show one time I went to in Municipal, and it was Warrior had to fight Andre. And you know how Andre did sometimes at the house shows? He beat the shit out of the Ultimate Warrior all over the arena. Like I'm like in the crowd. That would never be on TV back then because Warrior was being pushed to the moon. He squashed the Ultimate Warrior in Municipal Auditorium. I
That's
remember
good.
sitting there going, man, what is happening right now? But yeah, I know Andre didn't take a shine to you. You had to earn his respect, and I guess Warrior was earning it that night. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Short but sweet.
Hill section people out there watching, we're putting out open invites. You're welcome to join us in on these conversations. Uh, do that. Make it more fun. Let's be more interactive. We're going to try to start doing these once a week. I know we're going to try to bring in some interviews here in the near future. So, stay tuned. If you like what you saw, like and subscribe. We need some subscribers. So that was my politician thing. Subscribe. That's all I got. Anything else?
No, just everybody that's tuning in. Appreciate you for listening this long. I would like to tell you that it's probably going to get better, but it probably won't.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. That's why we need more people to join in to take the shine away from how not ready for this we are.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to do it. So
That's right. All right. That's all I got.
that's all I got.
Hill section signing off. See you next
Out.
time.